Hey guys, so don't you scroll because tonight we're going to talk about my book, Date Well. What a lot of people don't know that is before I was anything, before I was a life coach, before I was doing any of this here, I was an author. And this year I wrote a book called Date Well. Let's talk about what inspired me to write Date Well. Yes, I have all this different trainings and certificates and stuff, but you know, some of the best things that I found out came from my time with God. Let's talk about it. So many people know, and I've testified about it, that I was groomed to be a first lady. I was groomed to walk beside some pastor as a first lady. My mother's words was to me, my mother was a first lady. I'm a first lady. So you're going to be a first lady. Why? And to be honest, at that younger age, I was like, God, if that's your will, let it be done. Now, they were running after me, and I dated a few, and I ain't gonna lie, I thought I was gonna go to jail. I'm not, I ain't even gonna talk about that tonight, but let me just say, I thought I was gonna go to jail. My experiences there, I was like, God, I know you lying. This ain't what you want from me. Because this is crazy, right? And not only that, my heart wasn't in it. Can I be honest? My heart was not in that. And I couldn't figure out why. And I'll explain. So one day I was praying to God, and I'm like, God, I've got all these pastors that are running after me. A bunch of them are saying I'm their wife. I can't see myself with any of them, number one. Number two, to make it look like we're compatible, they come to my page, they watch what I say, then they go back and repeat on their page what I said. Some of them was to make them look good, which let me know that you don't want me, you want what I have. That's one. So you don't want me because I'm a woman and you're just in love with me. No, it's because you walk in revelation and God uses you mightily, and I want that. Because then I'll be able to brag to other pastors, look what God gave me. I got the girl that has the revelation and everybody's running, right? So it was more for bragging rights than for love, which means Chanel was not going to be able to be loved. The woman of her was always going to suffer. And then everything else inside of me was going to die. Yeah, let's talk about it. So as I, was tired of all of the craziness with these pastors, and they put me on blast because I won't date them and having whole prayer vigils about me and carrying on. I went to God and was like, God, this ain't working for me. I don't understand it. I don't like it. I don't like it. And I can't figure out why. And this is what I'm supposed to do. And God said to me something that was so profound and life-changing. He said, did I say that to you? I said, what do you mean? He said, did I tell you that you were going to marry pastor? Or is that what you were groomed for? And I was like, you talking some things, God, because you're right. You never said that to me. God said, don't miss your husband because you're looking for a preacher or a pastor. And at first I was like, but God, that's all I know. He said, it's not. He said, there's so many things inside of you that I'm getting ready to pull out because you're a multi-dimensional woman and you need a multi-dimensional man. He said, not that they are not, but their focus is church-based. I put you on world-based. Go ye therefore into the world, right? That's where he put my direction. Not that something's wrong with what they're doing. That's perfectly fine. That's what God called you to do. But that's not what he called me to do. And he said to me, don't miss your husband looking for a preacher. And I said, well, how am I supposed to do that? So one day, a couple of days later, Bishop Jakes is on. This is probably about 5-6 years ago. And Bishop Jakes said, women, stop beating up on your husband. He said, you guys are waiting for... he said, you come to church and you see deacon so-and-so and brother so-and-so, and they flipping and running and jumping and bucking and hollering and screaming. And then you go home and tell your husband you ain't saved and you don't love God and you this, that, and the other because you're not flipping and jumping and bucking and speaking in tongues and falling out all on the floor. And God said, now there are some people that are like that, but God don't deal with every man like that. There are some men that'll sit in the dark and say, God, lead me because I don't know what to do. That's their prayer. He said, but that's an effective prayer. God, this is bothering me. Show me how to fix it. And that thing changed my outlook. He said, because some of the most deep men and most committed men don't open their mouth and talk about God. You don't see them praying. He said, you don't hear them praying. He said, at all. And so you over there thinking that this man don't have a relationship with God because he not like Deacon so-and-so. That slapped me in my face, because that's what I grew up thinking that a man was supposed to do. That's how it was supposed, and that if it wasn't like that, he wasn't from God. But baby, let me tell you something. That set me free, and that put me on a path to understand some things. God said, now I need to teach you about you so you can date well. Now, as I went before God, the biggest thing that we had to do was him to sit down and teach me about me, because if he didn't show me, I wasn't going to recognize that in my husband. He said, you're a multidimensional woman. Explain that to me, God. He said, Chanel, I have put so many things in you and I want to use them all. He said, the first place that you met me was in prayer. Yes, I'm going to use you in prayer. Okay, cool. He said, the second place that you met me was in music. So I've always done music. I sang for a long time until I had thyroid surgery, and my thyroid grew in. It didn't grow out. It grew in, and it was on my vocal cords. Matter of fact, the doctors didn't think that I would be able to talk, let alone sing at all. And so when they pulled it off of my thyroid, my vocal cords, I had lost a lot of range. So when I went from this real big high, because I used to sing opera, singer, now I'm down at a low alto tenor, and I'm just like, what am I supposed to do with this, Lord? Every blue moon I still might bust a little something, but it's not too often. But my first place was that God found me was, besides prayer, was music. And then I started writing. I would write the Sunday school books. Now, not realizing then that was even something that God wanted to use. Nobody ever told me that. Nobody ever said to me, you got to write a book. God could do something with that. Never. Even the contests and stuff I wrote and I won. Nobody ever said to me that was a gift. It was just something that I did when I was writing plays and, doing all those things. I was a multidimensional woman. And even the part to help people and wanting to develop things and different programs to be able to help programs for the community. I knew that what God was calling me to do, it could be used inside of the church, but it was probably going to be most effective outside of the world. And so when I would meet men, a lot of them would, that's not God's will. He don't want you to do that. He just wants you to let all that go, and he wants you to come over here and sit with me while I do what I do, and just die inside and forget about you. And I'm just like, I don't see that. But the more that I learned about me, and the more I was starting to understand me, I began to realize if I didn't see those things in me and understand the dimensions of me, when God sent the man for me, I was not going to recognize him. I was not going to recognize the things inside of me because I didn't know me. Here's what I want you to get from this. This book is to help you learn yourself. You need to know your love languages. You need to know your attachment styles. You need to know your red flags. You need to know your triggers. You need to know how to get to know yourself. You need to, this book is going to teach you how to be prepared. This is to prepare you for dating, and dating for data, and data for marriage. Okay. And so if God had not given me these things, there would have been a man that was standing there. And there was that one just standing there like, I've been standing here all this whole time. Everything that I needed and wanted was standing in front of me. But because of my grooming and the things that I was told, and I was waiting for this big whatever, I would have missed who God had for me because of that. And so what I want you guys to know is that date well is to get you ready so that you know yourself, and you know what you need, and you know what you desire, and what God wants you to have. It's in this book. So make sure you go get this book, because I believe that we can redeem marriage and bring the beauty back out of it if we learn how to date well. And it all starts before you get into a relationship. All right. So the link is below, or if you don't see the link for some reason, look up in my bio and hit the little shopping bag and you can get it there.